I'd like to call this meeting to order. Would everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to welcome everyone to tonight's City Council meeting of March 16, 2026. When you walk in, there's a sign-in sheet and also an agenda. May I have a roll call? City Clerk Price.
Yes, Councilperson Bentley.
Here.
Bruns.
Here.
Flynn.
Here.
Morrissey.
Here.
Palladino.
Here.
Soha.
Present.
Stuchel.
Here.
Wolfram. And Mayor Sessions.
Here.
At 8 present here.
Okay, we did hear from Councilman Wolfram that he wouldn't be here tonight. Okay, we'll move into approval of agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Support. I have a motion by Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Soha. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We have an agenda. We move into public comment on agenda items only. Please state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Podium is now open.
Joseph Hendy, 181 Rio Street. I'll be speaking on Kiefer. I have provided this council with substantial material regarding CNL Enterprise, CL Red, and their relationship with Cars Chemical. One question that remains unanswered is who originally identified and brought this company forward. At the time CNL was hired, the company had only been in existence for approximately 5 years and did not appear to have an established reputation or substantial track record. That raises serious questions about the vetting process used before engaging them for projects of public significance. It is also worth noting that the connection between CNL Enterprise and the Cars family, Inga Cars, Cars' uncle Alvin Cars famously donated the rare coin collection to Hillsdale College. When viewed alongside the development patterns in the city, these relationships deserve scrutiny. I closely follow these projects and a consistent pattern emerges. Developments such as Rough Draft, the Dawn, and the Kiefer appear to be directly primarily towards the interests and needs of Hillsdale College rather than the broader community. From the perspective of the average resident, these projects offer little practical value. Much of this appears to have been orchestrated through TIFA, which notably resisted paying its fair share of the additional costs associated with the road diet project. Meanwhile, council tried to subject average residents outside TIFA district in special assessments to cover those expenses. This result is a situation where average residents appear to be carrying the financial burden, while well-connected interests receive the benefit of public investment with little return for the taxpayers who funded it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Joshua Wechter, I live in Ward 3. I'm speaking tonight on the projected options for street reconstruction going forward in Hillsdale. Given the information in the packet that you all have as far as options provided by the city manager, there's a number of things I could say. I'll limit my comment really to, I think, 2 points. One, obviously, it's disappointing to see, again, one of the options that's not being presented to the council is where in the current city budget cuts might be made in order to, in addition perhaps to levying the sinking fund property tax millage, allow for street reconstruction at the rate that is currently being done. The implicit message being conveyed by not the voters certainly, but by the city staff is everything else is absolutely essential. no cuts can be made if the people aren't willing to pay more than they already are paying to repair their roads. Tough luck. And I think that's wrong. I think it's disappointing, and I'd like to see the council direct the city to provide options relating to cutting and redirecting spending in addition to what they've currently provided tonight. The second point has to do with potential options relating to the continued use of special assessment districts. As I understand it, maybe not using them going forward as the primary means for funding road repair, but if certain areas, if property owners demonstrate support for the establishment of a special assessment, I'm not sure how that would be done, then they get basically better roads. And to me, if the city council adopts this idea, this really cuts against something that you, Mr. Mayor, ran on, which was the idea that we all need to have special assessments because it's fair. We can't end them because they've already been put into place. Now it seems like the argument would be, no, you have to pay taxes to have your roads basically not repaired, but if you want to pay more, then you get better roads. Then you get nicer stuff. But that doesn't apply to all the other taxes I pay. Can I pay more to BPU to get my trash, or more to LRS to get my trash taken out twice a week? Can I pay more to BPU to get special services? I mean, that's not how that works, right? If I was to come forward with that request, it'd be no, taxation should be applied equally to everyone for equal services. That's what government's supposed to do. Road repair needs to be applied equally to everyone. It needs to be the same funding mechanism for everyone. So I would strongly encourage this council to not adopt at least that part of the city manager's recommendation. Effectively saying that people who don't want to get their pocket picked further by the city will get punished, and people who are basically getting cajoled into giving more money, because they get better roads. That's not fair. That should not be pursued. And furthermore, I would strongly recommend directing the city manager just to look at ways in which current funding can be cut, redirected to allow for road repair with an already high tax rate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the podium and we'll move into the consent agenda. I have approvals of bills, one city and BPU claims of February 26, 2026 of $1,442,950.17. Payroll of February 26, 2026 of $215,264.02. City Council minutes of March 2nd, 2026. Finance minutes of March 2nd, 2026. Planning Commission minutes of January 21st, 2026 and February 18th of 2026. TIFA minutes of January 8th, 2026 and January 20th of 2026. TIFA targeted development minutes of January 8th, 2026. TIFA review committee minutes of February 3rd, 2026 and February 2024 of 2026. TIFA Dawn Theater government board minutes of January 27, 2026 and February 2024, 2026. Zoning Board of Appeals minutes of February 11, 2026. Cemetery Board minutes of March 4th, 2026. BPU Eaton Relay Purchase. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support?
I have a motion by Councilman Morrissey, supported by Councilman Flynn.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
just a quick question for the city manager. Do we have to, as a council, vote on the Eaton Relay purchase for the BPU, or is that something the BPU just handles?
The BPU board approves it. We began many years ago putting them on the consent agenda just so council knew what they had been approving.
So we don't need to vote?
Well, as part of this, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. Any more council discussion? Yes, Councilman.
So just, the BPU board makes the determination or recommendation, but we still have to
Okay.
approve.
Okay. I just didn't want to gloss over it, so.
Any more council discussion? Seeing none, we have a roll call vote. City Clerk Price.
Yes. Councilperson Bruns,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Morrissey,
Yes.
Palladino.
Yes.
Okay. Soha,
Yes.
Stuchel,
Yes.
Mayor Sessions?
Yes.
Councilperson Dunn?
Yes.
6-0, it's approved.
All right, thank you. We have communications and petitions, we have communication Kiefer House Hotel construction update on Nick Fox.
Good evening. I'm here to give an update on the Kiefer. As you know from the communications, we are in the process of changing the general contractor that is doing the work on the project. So from going forward, we're going to be using another general contractor out of the Chicagoland area and working diligently to get this project finished. We've already started a cleanup process on the site and in the building, and we're putting together the rest of the schedule and getting the finances put in place. Not put in place, but figured out as far as the subcontractors and getting everything set up.
Yes, Councilman Flynn.
So I guess the obvious question is, do you have a finished date?
Not-
Mr. Cohen was here a couple of months ago, he said that everything would be wrapped up by the end of June. Are you still on that timeline?
We're working towards that, but I still have to get an official schedule put together with the new general contractor.
Okay. The other question I have, and you and I talked about this the last tour we had.
Yes.
You said there was more drainage that had to be done from like the alley behind
Correct, there's
down
an
into
entire,
North Street. Is that still on the
it's
table?
still on track, we just have to wait for the frost laws to be lifted. So then there'll be an entire water detention system or retention system underground in the back of the building.
Okay.
That'll hold the water prior to going into the city system.
Could you give us a general idea of how much is done? Are you 75% done, 60%?
It depends on the floor. We started a process of getting from the third floor is farther complete than the second and all the way down. We're into the finishes on the third floor and the second floor. So they're percentage-wise, it'd be hard to say because it's very different on all 4 floors.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any more questions? Councilman Soha.
Thanks for being here, Nick. There were some pretty sharp accusations against CL in some of our local social media circles, including non-payment of contractors and, just generally negative towards naming you specifically, and I would just ask you to address that publicly. Well, I won't go into specifics as far as who and what, but CL Red is in the process of identifying the subcontractors that do need to be paid. Some have already been brought up to date, and we're in that process right now, but it's an arduous process to do. So we're working on getting everybody current.
Yes.
Were you subcontracting Phoenix to pay this? Was Phoenix contracted to pay the subcontractors? Respectfully, I'm not going to get into too much detail because there are contractual processes we have to go through, and I won't speak to that. Fair enough. Appreciate that.
Councilman Valley.
You use the phrase, it's in process, so you don't have a new general contractor?
We do. It's for the communications, it's global builders out of the Chicagoland area.
Okay,
And
go ahead.
the majority of the subcontractors are going to be local as well.
Many of the same subcontractors, or?
Yes, hopefully. We have to get all the contracts in place first before I can give any definitives, and we're working on that process right now.
I heard that there was work being done.
It was a cleanup process. We cleaned up the site, we got rid of all the trash and things that were in the building, outside the building. It was about 2 dumpsters full that we took and just reorganizing, basically. Getting it ready for the new general contractor.
We haven't had a walkthrough in a while.
You have it? I'm more than happy to do one.
And just to reiterate, the North Street, when it happens, will be one side than the other. Is that?
It's just half. We don't go all the way across.
Oh, okay.
It's just to the, Jason, is it about halfway through to the main for the sewer, for the, storm? It's about halfway across north?
That's 3/4 of the way.
Okay.
Oh, so it will be,
It won't be closed, it'll be passable.
Oh, it will be passable.
So we're supposed to do one side at a time.
That's what I remember.
We'll walk through the details.
Okay, and the TOC,
The what, I'm sorry?
the temporary occupancy, is that on the, can we see that on the radar?
It'll be on the schedule that we put together, yes.
Okay, and so when can we expect firmer answers, you think?
By my next visit, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? Mr. Fox? Seeing none, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we have the planning commission, or the planning annual report of 2025 in the packet. Also, we have the 2026 to 2027 budget review dates at the April 7th city council meeting. The mayor and the city council will be presented with the 2026-2027 city council budget for review, and the staff would like to hold strong budget and work review sessions on April 30th and May 7th at 6 p.m. in city council chambers. All right, then we have.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Rector's still here, so if you don't mind, I would like to suggest to him, the budget starts July 1st, and we discuss it, we're gonna discuss the dates. But I would encourage the citizens to dig into it along with us and try to find where we can find some cuts. Because this budget, we're to the last quarter, and I don't think this council is about to do what you suggested before then, but for the next fiscal year, I'd encourage everyone to dig into it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. We move on to D 2026 East Waste Collection, and if you got electronics, during tree sale of April 24th to 25th at Hillsdale County Fairgrounds, 115 South Broad Street, Hillsdale, Michigan. And then after that, we have the spring 2026 brush collection. And then after that, we have the Hillsdale County Commissioner update, County Commissioner Doug Ingles.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, City Manager. My report tonight is very short, as was our last meeting at Board of Commissioners. We had overcapacity and adjourned the meeting after 9 minutes. I want to thank City Manager for our location for our next meeting, which will be Council Chambers on March 24th at 9 a.m. So thank you very much for that. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Councilman Flynn.
Just real quick, Commissioner, do you think this room will be big enough?
We have 185 in this room capacity. We had approximately 80 at our last meeting. I anticipate this room will be fine. If not, I have Plan C ready to go.
Okay, thank you.
Any more question? Councilman Bentley.
Commissioner, can you give us, reiterate again, what is the proposal that's tabled? And do you expect that to be resolved at your next meeting?
The answer is yes, I do expect it to be resolved. The motion to table is the motion to rescind the resolution that places the Lifeways request for bond on the ballot. The motion to rescind that resolution. And that was tabled. It must be brought at the next meeting, and the next meeting will be March 24th. We did not get a chance to really approve our agenda. We did not get a chance to do any business. Rightfully so, the room was overcrowded, and so that meeting was adjourned. Our next meeting is March 4th in this room.
Thank you.
Councilman Flynn.
So just to be clear, on the 24th here, you will vote on the motion to rescind the question of putting it on the ballot.
If that motion is brought off the table,
Right.
yes. If
Okay.
that motion is not brought off the table, that motion will die.
Okay, but if it is, and you do vote to rescind,
The
the next
resolution.
step, the resolution, then I'm assuming the next step would be somewhere down the road, vote to go ahead with approving the bond.
The bond language.
Bond anyway. Will
Yes.
that happen at the same meeting on the 24th, or is that something
I
that,
do not know.
okay, I didn't know if it could happen or if
It could happen,
Okay,
absolutely yes.
okay, thank
There's several ifs in that question.
you. Yeah, okay, I appreciate it though, thank you.
Councilman Bell.
Is the bond language problematic? Hasn't it already gone through the processes and the lawyers and it's
The
clear?
answer is it has come from the bond attorney, yes. Is it problematic? I would say it is problematic because it was defeated one time. So there needs to be, if it will be approved, there does need to be some reconsideration.
And I don't know if you want to speak to this, but one of the commissioners, the second commissioner is going to be appointed to the Lifeways Board. And
Yeah.
the current chairman of the commissioners is currently the Lifeways Board chairman. Do I have that right?
Yes, Commissioner Wiley is chairman of the Board of Commissioners. He's also chairman of the Lifeways Board. And in our consent agenda for our last meeting, Commissioner Collins was the commissioner as well to be appointed to the Lifeways Board. I have not seen the agenda for our next meeting, but I would think that that order of business will be in the agenda as well.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Thank you, Mayor. What's the deadline to approve ballot language?
I believe it's end of May.
Okay, so if this language is defeated, that isn't necessarily meaning it's off the ballot?
Correct. It would be, the sequence of events seems to be that the next vote will be on the motion to table, which is on the table. The motion would be to bring it off the table. Then you vote on that motion. If the motion passes, then the resolution is rescinded. If the motion is defeated, then the ballot election will still be in place. Then we need to approve ballot language. Once that ballot language is approved, then it's set to go on the ballot.
Thank you. Is it standard procedure to do your nominations in the consent agenda, or do you normally have a process like the council where they're a separate agenda item?
Typically, they'll be in the consent agenda. If the commissioner has a question, it can be pulled from the consent agenda. The consent agenda is unanimous, and so if a commissioner has any reservations about any item on the consent agenda, it gets pulled from the consent agenda. Typically, those nominations, whether it's planning commission or another board like Veterans Affairs, that would be generally in the consent agenda.
Are there any other boards, or do you serve on any other boards that govern institutions that aren't owned by the county?
That aren't owned by the county.
Like,
So I'm on Michigan Works Southeast, if that would be the
Okay.
one that would.
That's
you know,
exactly what I'm wondering.
Yes, I'm chairman of the consortium of Michigan Works Southeast. The consortium is 5 counties with 2 commissioners from each county, and we meet typically every 2 months, and so that would be an example.
Okay, and then how does that work? That doesn't sound like an organization that would necessarily have a financial or, is there any financial or political relationship with you or the county with that organization? I'm just wondering how unique of a situation are we in here? Are you in?
Am I in?
You all.
You all. Well, there are a variety of boards that commissioners are on, and several of the boards do have members that do have, for example, the Senior Services Center does have a commissioner on it. The Senior Services Center does receive dollars from the county. The Veterans Board, the veterans do receive dollars from the county. Michigan Works Southeast is a tenant as well as being a body that helps typically with employment issues, okay? MSUE Extension is another board that is also a tenant of the county. Department of Health would be one. That would be the Tri-County Health Board. So I think there are several examples where there's certain overlaps. By statute, we are not only allowed but required to vote, even if you're on committees that do have the overlap that you're suggesting. So, if that answers your question.
Yeah, to some extent, there's just a lot of different, I know for our planning commission, I read a bylaw that says if you vote in the planning commission on something, you're not supposed to vote on the whole council. I don't know if we've observed that or even whether that's legal.
I don't know the truth on that or not.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
So some of the voting questions, councilperson, you know, our attorney is common. You know, Ms. Johnson is county attorney as well as city attorney. And I'm sure if I'm saying something that's not exactly accurate, he's jumping up and down. But I'm trying to do my best to represent some of the advice that I've received from our attorney.
Okay. And those other boards have a political relationship with the county. Other commissioners sit on veterans, on senior services, on MSU Extension.
Yes.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Bellamy.
On a related topic, what's the latest on the 2B Care Drive new search?
We're working very hard on completing the requirements of the lease. Currently, Hillsdale Renaissance will take possession of the second floor as of March 31. The county has removed everything from that floor. We're working on making sure the court has security for downstairs. And so we're going to have, I believe, great progress in the next 2 years of having a good home in the annex for To-Be District Court. In terms of finding another location, we are still trying to follow the recommendation of the Budget Committee, which was to either find another location or find a lower price. And so we are working towards that in a very strong fashion.
Any more questions? Seeing none, thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, we do not have any introductions or adoptions of ordinance or public hearings. We have no old business, so we'll move into new business, domestic harmony contract. Jessica Flower.
Yes, so I would like to thank you for letting me speak tonight. I am Jessica Flogger and I serve as the Executive Director of Domestic Harmony. We have been providing services in Hillsdale County for 47 years, and in the last fiscal year, Domestic Harmony provided shelter for 32 survivor adults and 23 children, which equaled a total of 2,452 total bed nights. Our staff and volunteers took 347 crisis and information calls. Our legal advocate assisted with 46 personal protection orders and provided 83 clients with victim advocacy. Domestic Harmony also provides prevention education throughout the local Hillsdale County high schools, educating high school students on domestic violence and teen dating violence. Domestic Harmony is a 501c3 organization in good standing. Our funding comes from various sources. We receive local grants and service contracts. We do local fundraising, including a membership drive and the Duck Derby. We receive federal and state funding, and in order to continue the work that we do, we have done in the past 47 years, I am asking for, last year Hillsdale, City of Hillsdale did a contract for $7,500 for us. And again, we are asking for $7,500 for the contract again this year. You have been a strong supporter of our mission for many years, and we appreciate your support of providing safety and advocacy to the victims of domestic violence in Hillsdale County. And again, thank you for your time tonight.
Any questions? Councilman Flint.
Jessica, do you receive any other funding from any of the other municipalities in Hillsdale County?
Yes, we do. We received, I want to say 9 contracts last year, and we've already received 3 total already this month from other counties.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Do you have more questions? Councilman Bentley.
Can you tell us your overall budget per year?
Our overall budget is roughly $540,000. And with federal and state grants are starting to kind of chip away. We are not receiving as many funds. Those are kind of going down too, this last year and this next year. So it's crucial to try to outreach as much resources as we can for funding.
Can you give me an approximate percentage of public versus private monies?
I can get back to you, but I can't. Sorry, I don't want to guesstimate. Yeah.
Councilman Soha.
I'd just like to remind council that domestic harmony gives our police officers an option when there are no other options for women, especially that are in a really bad situation. And how many did you say you helped on the?
So this, in the fiscal year of '25, we served, we had 32 adults in shelter and a total of 23 children. Those are just only what we helped that received emergency shelter, but we help everybody, even non-shelter residents, with legal advocacy, PPOs, group counseling.
Yeah, the PPOs is the one that I was.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And I just 2,452 bed nights is 6.7 per night, 365 days a year. That's a substantial service to the community. So, if there's no more discussion, I move to approve that.
All right, I have a motion by Councilman Soha, supported by Councilman Morrissey. Any more council discussion? Seeing none, may I have a roll call vote, City Clerk Price.
Yes, Councilperson Flynn.
Yes.
Morrissey.
Yes.
Palladino.
No.
Soha.
Yes.
Stuchel.
Yes.
Mayor Sessions.
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley.
No.
And Bruns.
No.
It's 5-3 passes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep, thanks. Okay, we'll move into new business item B, the city mowing contract types A, B, C, D, F, and G. Jason Blake, Director of Public Services.
Thank you, Mayor. As the city mowing contract consists of 7 different types of mowing. Type A builds the grounds, B parking lots, C parks, D roadsides, F field of dreams, G is both for cemeteries, and H is the Board of Public Utilities. That was bid out with this, but you'll see that come later on as that will go through the Board of Public Utilities before it comes before this council. So the scope of the work is mowing and trimming and edging and light landscaping with a total approximate area of 175 acres once per week. During peak days, Field Dreams is mowed twice weekly. We did receive 4 bids, although only out of the 4, 2 bid on all the types of mowing. We low bid from Finish Line Solutions, bid on type A through F, and then G as well, for a total of $402,904.25. That bid is actually about 1.21% higher than when we bid this out in 2022, for a total cost of $397,955. With that being said, we also checked the references for Finish Line, as I was unaware of them. They mow Michigan Department of Transportation, Marshall, TSC. They do 3M Solutions. It's a contracting company that oversees the rest areas for MDOT and Battle Creek area. The references came back very well. They average about 175 to 200 acres per week to mow as well. So they're kind of the same wheelhouse of what we're looking for. With that, staff recommends City Council award the City of Hillsdale 2026 to 28 Type A through F and G lawn maintenance contract to Finish Line Property Solutions in the amount of $402,904.25.
Any questions? Councilman Flynn.
So that 402,904, that's per year for 2 years?
That is a full 3-year contract.
Oh, so that covered, that's the whole 3 years?
Correct.
Okay, so it's not each year for 3 years?
No,
It's not gonna be 1.2, okay. And just a stupid question, because this is the way my brain works. Where's type E?
Type E was never put in years before I got here, so we just kept with what we had.
Okay, I'm just curious, I didn't know if it was something that the city doesn't normally mow or have or something?
No, my thought was before parking lots and roadsides were separated, and at one time they brought it together and made it be on there, but yeah, that's my best solution on that.
But, just curious, thank you.
More questions? Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Thank you, Mayor Sessions. What is our current 3-year cost?
Our current 3-year cost for the last contract was $397,955.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, I'll make the same point last year. Particularly roadsides, traffic island parking lot, city entrance signs. I think those would be the main 3. Just the weekly mowing still does not seem to be necessary to me. I understand keeping buildings and grounds and cemeteries, like for reasons of public appearance and piety and reverence and all that. But I do just wonder, like, city entrance sign, I don't know, it can grow up a little bit.
Yeah, so we actually, the roadsides are once a month,
Oh, okay.
and the city entrance signs are bi-weekly now.
Oh, it just says, unless I'm missing something, it says Field of Dreams twice per week.
That is twice a week. That's the one that's twice per week due to the influx of sports activities through the summer.
Okay, am I missing that somewhere? Maybe I'm just... Oh, okay. Alright, so we're still $5,000 more. Was that was the current process?
Correct.
Field of Dreams twice per week, but you said
Everything else.
roadsides and city entrance signs are once a month?
City entrance signs are bi-weekly, and then the roadsides are once per month.
City entrance signs are bi-weekly, roadsides are once, okay, was that a change then?
No, that was the way we did it before as well. Well, it's
Okay.
actually the city entrance signs, those were weekly before.
Okay, and then what about parks? Like what percentage of the parks are being mowed? Would this be like the whole Owen Memorial Complex, all along the walking trails? Is that everything?
That is everything, correct?
Okay. Yeah, I still wonder there even whether that is, and this is I assume May to September, October?
October 15th, right?
October 15th. Okay, yeah, I still wonder whether there's some, like, whether it could be done on more of a piecemeal basis, I suppose, where the high traffic areas are mowed more frequently and some of the areas of the parks we just sort of let go a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know if you looked into those sorts of options.
So we did a little bit with
Okay.
the price that we got this time. The other ones, as you see, the other contract pricing was quite increased, so to keep that only at 1%, I thought that's pretty good.
Okay.
To keep that on.
Okay, and then the thing we discussed last year was bringing some of this in-house, and there's a what was it, a contractual, like a union problem with it?
No, we could bring it in-house. The amount of manpower we need extra with the amount of equipment we would have would be a pretty good cost.
Okay.
So, like, their contract, our current contract now, they're having 6 people to do these throughout the week. And there's 6 that we don't have.
Okay.
And they have 5 to 6 lawnmowers, and then they use what's called 12-foot battling mower as well, to get these through.
Okay, at the airport, they have their own batwing mower and do that. Is it just because it's on site and they have someone there to do it? Is that the reason? There isn't as much transportation and?
I think a lot of that at the airport, and forgive me, I don't know the whole process out there, but they have a third person that's out there, staffed as maintenance, and that's what he does, and he mows Monday through Friday. It's nothing, you know, we don't have to take into consideration, sports complexes, you know, teams coming in, rentals at the pavilions, stuff like that.
So it's just fewer scheduling issues?
I think a lot of that would be, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just be curious. I think he's paying some outrageous, like 16, 18 bucks an hour or something to be out there. So I just wonder if there would be a way to use that airport model, or even, you know, see if the airport guy wants to work more hours mowing the lawn.
You know, a couple things too in the airport that I've seen is the rental rates of the equipment that's paid into for maintenance, fuel, upkeep of the machines. On top of that, $13, $14 an hour, we still have fringe benefits that go on top of that. So I mean, they're still up to, we're probably $20, $21 an hour every time we pay workers' comp and et cetera out there.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Okay, any more questions? Councilman Flynn?
Just real quick, Jason, so we maintain the city, maintain the bike path then out to Sandy Beach?
We do, sir.
Okay, does Rotary, since that was their project, do they chip in a little bit to help with that?
I'm sorry. Yeah, every so often there is out there. We have help from the Community Foundation. We've got money to help pay for mowing, et cetera. Rotary, they used to put in quite a bit, and they still have, but most of those funds are tied up with the fitness park right now. But yes, in history past, they have.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Valley?
Councilman Flynn reminds me, I was looking at the GIS, as one does, and saw that our bike trail, or our trail, goes well beyond Bobby's all the way to Pittsford, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And we're paying maintenance costs on, I don't even know if it's paved, I haven't been out there, but
No, sir.
are we mowing or doing anything?
No, our maintenance stops at the city limits. The rest of that is nature trail, and the North Country Trail maintains most of that in its entirety, all the way out past Osseo.
I'm sorry, who does?
North Country Trail.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Councilman Soha?
Councilman Bentley, the North Country Trail is actually the longest trail in the country. It starts in Maryland, I believe, or New England somewhere, and goes all the way into Minnesota through the entirety of the lower and upper peninsulas.
I found the hole in our budget. No, but I'm curious, when and how and why do we own it to Pittsburgh? I don't necessarily care, it's just, he's curious.
Yeah, it's in Osseo where we stopped there,
Yeah, that's
right there. But the pole line goes through there. That old railroad bed is the BP pole line. And we service Pittsburgh customers all the way, like, so same as we talked earlier, to bakers and so forth.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Any more questions?
If we don't have one yet, I would make a motion that we approve Finish Line Property Solutions to do the city mowing contract for types A, B, C, D, F, and G.
Support.
I have a motion by Councilman Flynn, supported by Councilman Soha. Any more council discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, City Clerk Price.
Yes, Councilperson Morrissey.
Yes.
Palladino.
No.
Soha.
Yes.
Stuchel.
Yes.
Mayor Sessions.
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley.
Yes.
Bruns.
Yes.
And Flynn.
Yes.
7-1, that's approved.
All right, thank you. Now we move into new business. Item C, street project options and special assessment policy amendment. Sam Fry, Assistant City Manager, and Jason Blake, Director of Public Services.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So over the past several years, the City of Hillsdale has utilized special assessment districts as a necessary tool to help offset some of the costs of our street rehabilitation projects. This approach reflected prior policy direction from City Council, specifically that all roadway-related projects, except those considered light preventative maintenance, should include a resident cost share through specifically assessing a portion of the project costs. We had some recent feedback from several council members, along with property owner objections to the proposed special assessment district projects that we had put forward this year, indicating that there's a growing dissatisfaction with the current policy, which does require special assessments for every street reconstruction project. Considering this shift, staff, and at the last meeting, this is something we talked about, we're seeking updated policy direction from council on how to proceed with funding road projects. For the current construction season, we had proposed 3 local street projects, and those projects combined had assumed approximately $935,000 in the cost share through the special assessment revenue as part of the total funding structure. If special assessments are not going to be used as a funding mechanism for those 3 projects, then that revenue has to be replaced through another means, or the scope of the projects will need to be adjusted. So we had told council at the last meeting we would come back with a proposal and a concept. And so what we have provided for you guys, we have 2 options. These are not, we want to emphasize there's not mutually exclusive. The idea is, you could use one and not the other, or potentially both on an as-needed basis. Option 1 was to talk about how to replace the special assessment revenue if council wanted to go that route. And so City Council has the ability to authorize the existing street sinking fund millage. We do have 1.4 mils available to levy in 2026, which would generate about $310,000. And so that's something that could be levied on an annual basis by council if we needed the funds that year to complete, let's say, a larger project, or if there was a gap between the funds we had available to do reconstruction and what the project costs were estimated to be. So utilizing that tool would potentially, again, help replace some of that funding shortfall. However, that option alone, that $310,000, is not enough to meaningfully replace our revenues and continue to accelerate projects, which is something that council's wanted us to get as much work done in the shortest time frame possible. So our other option that we have presented to council, option number 2, which addresses where we're at in the current year with our 3 projects, is that if the desire of council is for staff to complete these projects without that assessment revenue coming in, we would just have to adjust the scope of the work in order to account for that $935,000 funding gap that exists right now. So we kind of came together and thought about this, and really the most practical way to reduce the project costs we came up with is to remove some of the property enhancing features that were designed into each of the project scope. So when we say property enhancing features, we're talking about curb and gutter replacement, sidewalk repairs and replacement, and then the driveway approach reconstruction. So if you look at the projects, those items collectively account for about 25% of the project costs, and that's equivalent to what was coming in through the assessments. So by excluding those and removing the optional add-ons, so that portion, the north portion of Oak Street from Fayette to the college, as well as dropping Proctor Drive, which was a later add-on to the project, we can basically account for that funding gap. So under this approach, what we're proposing is that affected streets would receive new pavement from curb to curb. That would be done without a special assessment, using existing revenues. And so that would get us approximately 15 to 25 years of new extended life out of those streets, South, Oak, and then Arch and Industrial. And so in order to do that, we would not really do the full rebuild that was proposed and designed for the projects, but a bit of a scaled back version that drops some of those additional features. And that was done in an effort to trim the cost while keeping as much of the work as possible, right? So we're still doing as many linear feet or miles as we can with the current budget. So what we are proposing and recommending to council is that in order for us to do those 3 projects this year and to maintain comparable level of street work in future years to what we've been doing over the last 5 or 6, moving to a 2-tiered approach. And under this approach, if there are property owners in proposed project areas who are interested in a special assessment, then we would design a project that includes those property enhancing features. So the curb and gutter, the sidewalk replacement and repair, as well as driveway approach reconstruction, because we can build in some of those extra costs if we have some additional revenue coming in. In project areas where property owners don't want to pay any additional funds, but they still want a new driving surface and they want the road done, we're proposing we do that from curb to curb with new pavement, but it doesn't include some of those optional features that we were relying on some of the cost share to help cover. So we feel that this approach would basically better allow us to align our costs with available funding, and also I think it achieves one of the points that was mentioned by several council members recently is giving residents a choice on the level of project that they would like to do. And so we feel that this is a good way to still advance council's objective of get as much road work done as quickly as possible without this revenue source. So what we have attached here, and it was included in the packet, is we have a memo from Rob Syverson, our city engineer, demonstrating that by taking out those components, we could basically achieve approximately $918,000, so almost equivalent cost savings to what we're losing in terms of revenue. And in order to implement that approach, our recommendation is we update the special assessment district policy to acknowledge the potential for a two-tiered approach where we do the paving from curb to curb for project areas that are not necessarily interested in assessment. They still get a new road out of it. But for folks that want to chip in a little bit more, it allows the city to have the funds needed to do a little bit more work for those project areas. So we do have an updated special assessment policy attached for council to consider. So that's our recommendation for council.
Any questions? Councilman Salah.
The only, not only, but one of the exceptions I have is Oak Street from Fayette to Academy Lane is in terrible condition, and it would just be, to have the whole street paved except for that bit. That's frustrating.
I have a question.
Councilman Stuchel.
You say the property enhancer thing, so say you got two neighbors, one doesn't want a new driveway entrance, and one does. Can you piecemeal that, or is it all or nothing?
So if property owners are interested in, okay, let's say we just do the project without the city baking those property enhancing features into the design. If residents of that street are interested in a special assessment for them to all get new sidewalk, that's something that they can initiate. Now, it's not possible for drive approaches or curb and gutter because those are components that can't be done by the individual property owner. They have to be designed as part of the whole project.
But the whole neighborhood has to agree.
So a majority of the neighborhood would have to support an assessment for that, or they would have to pay for those features to their own property out of their own pocket.
Councilman Bell.
Can you just say a little more about what, or maybe the engineer, about the aprons, the approach, like how, yeah, we're not supposed to do the driveways for them, but is it gonna, what does that look like?
Now, what do you mean by what does it look like? Are you mean aesthetically, what does it look like?
Not necessarily, but I'm concerned it's, well, it occurs to me, where is it? It's somewhere over by the Rotary Park. I was walking around and there's a curb in somebody's driveway that apparently we enforced because reasons. Is the road gonna go up? Is it still gonna be a grade so their driveway apron is their own situation, or is there gonna be a problem for them, potentially? What does that look like? Is what I mean, not aesthetically.
Okay. So our goal is to match the existing asphalt elevation that's out there. Now, obviously, there's gonna be spots that are gonna have to be adjusted so we get rid of puddles and things like that. There's a puddle on Oak Street, about mid-block, Fayette to River. And then there's South Street, Broad to Budlawn. There's a stretch in there. We gotta be careful with that. Asphalt does not drain as well as concrete, so take that at face value. But the drive approaches, if we're a little high, we can blend in a little bit of asphalt and smooth it out. If they're a little high, there's probably gonna be a little bit of a bump. So you don't necessarily see as nice a grade adjustment across there. If you tore out the curb, put in curb and gutter, redid the approach, that will give you a nicer finish. But one of the things that kind of comes into play in this is the street part is meant for conveyance to and from properties. The property owners are supposed to be responsible for going on and off of their property. So the drive approach normally is the property owner's responsibility to improve, replace. When we do a project, if we impact that feature, then we have to put back what we impact. Now, that doesn't have to be in its entirety, it can be a patch. Just like if the property owner has to redo their, or they wanna redo their driveway, like it's all busted up, whatever, whether you call it an option or a need, okay? They wanna redo their driveway, they impact the curb impacts the pavement, they gotta patch that back in. They're not asked to replace the whole curb on the street, they're asked to patch it back in. So there's different levels of how you go about doing that. Now, when they're doing the special assessment, you go in and patch back in and that driveway is half busted up, it makes more sense to fix the whole driveway. But you're not required to fix the whole driveway, even under the special assessment. Every project is different, every block within the project is different. So when we talk about, taking out the asphalt, putting the asphalt back in, that's actually the same on the project if you scale down and don't do the special assessment as what it would have been had you done the special assessment. Because there isn't signs of subgrade failures, so we're not seeing rutting, things like that would cause us to need to dig down and rebuild that aggregate base. So it was always intended to be an overlay, if you will. Now, Oak Street, we might look at how, you gotta run into a cold patch, it's absolutely horrible. We're gonna go all the way down to the gravel and rebuild that part up. But there's some spots that it's not too bad. There's cracking, and you'll get what's called reflective cracking in the end. But it's still to a nice rideable grade. And when we cap it, it'll improve the ride quality. So it's not that we're going to all of a sudden strip this down and not give as good a street. We're still intended to give the same street. Where the difference is that curb and gutter is kind of a boundary, and outside of that boundary, we're not necessarily going to try to do as much work as what we had originally planned.
Thank you, and I'm not insisting, it's maybe a dumb question, and maybe this is never done, and it's too complicated, but I'm just curious if there are some wealthy homeowners that want a new apron to pay for it themselves. Would that be worth coordinating and putting the word out to them that, hey, we're coming through, if you want it, this would be a good time to do it? Just a thought.
Right, so obviously a property owner can fix a driveway at any time they want and just do it. They have to figure out a way to pay for that. Now, whether or not that's all cash up front, or whether or not that's going and getting a loan and using a home equity loan to fix it. A special assessment is really just another funding source that kind of distributes the cost.
No, I don't mean to confuse the situation. I'm not talking about SADs or anything. I'm just talking about somebody. Would it be beneficial to you or them to do it at the same time and talk to each other? So
on the approach on option 2, just for curb to curb, the answer I think is no, because we wouldn't have a contractor in doing concrete work besides just the 88 ranch we have on the corner. So we'd have to definitely at least know above pretty quick in the option process if there was something. So probably not. They wouldn't get the best unit cost by doing that option.
Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Thank you, Mayor Sessions. Yeah, just following up on Stuchel and Bentley's question there. But if we just sent like a questionnaire and said, do you want sidewalk, do you want drive approach, is there some percentage of the total project less than 50%, right, because it was objected to, like say 30% of them say, yeah, we want that, would there be a cost, a bulk savings for mobilizing to get those 30% done?
Not really too much, because if you're looking at a whole street and you're saying 30% of the people, so maybe every other house, every third house wants that. There's not going to be enough concrete work in total to justify incorporating that into the project. That's what I think Councilman Bentley was kind of asking, and it gets to the property owners again. They could go out and they could get somebody to do that work for them contractually, but for us to, we have a project design, but now there's 8 people at random intervals that want this and that, when that's not designed into the project. we think would ultimately not offer them necessarily really favorable unit costs to justify doing it, and it would also add a lot of complexity and cost to our project and how we have to bid it out.
Yeah, the hard part is every project like that would have to have a start and end point. You know, everyone's sidewalk, this guy's 4 foot wide, his is all the reverse crown going the wrong way. It's that match points that's what's really the problem there. So you're chasing grades, there's nothing to chase to. So that's why I would recommend not include that as part of the project.
So we can't really combine option 1 and 2 in a piecemeal way.
So, this isn't in Hillsdale, right? Okay, so take this as the example. I would do this in Bad Axe. We don't prohibit the contractor from chasing whatever work they want to chase, right? So there's a concrete contractor that's gonna be on that site doing the ADA ramps and stuff like that. If an individual property owner wants to coordinate with that and handle that outside of the contract that doesn't go through the city of Hillsdale, we don't get in the way of that.
Okay.
They would be allowed to do that work if they wanted to do that work, and it would be nice if it was all kinda scheduled together, so when we go to do the paving, we don't have to worry about the new pavement getting all marred up or potentially damaged from somebody coming in at a later date. But that's individual to the contractor, not in our contract.
And it's standard that the city does not even play a role as a liaison, and that's telling the contractor, here's the properties we're gonna be paving, you're gonna be doing concrete work right next door, you can get in contact with them too.
So what I've done is I've given out names and contact numbers.
Okay.
So I'm not telling them, hey, you gotta go find your own person, right? At least help making contacts. But as far as the actual agreement between the contractor and the property owner, we're not involved in that.
Okay. And then,
We've done, I'm sorry, we've done the same thing up on the Westwood project when we had the infancy phase of it, when we had the town meeting. We gave the contractor's number out, everyone had the contractor's number. They did the personal side of this driveway and so forth, so I would assume it'd be the same way Rob's talking.
okay, so we do that again. Okay, great, thanks. Now, you're minus what, 985 was it? 918?
935 to 918.
935 to 918. So if the sinking fund is utilized, what percentage of the additional work could be brought back in? Could we do curb and gutter? Could we do drive approach, sidewalks? Could one of those options?
Well,
I guess I would say to answer that question, you're talking that the special assessment revenue we're losing is $935,000, $34,000. The option 1 is only providing a little over $300,000, so there's only two-thirds of that revenue still not made up.
Right, yeah, I understand that. So I'm saying there's sort of 3 categories that we're not doing. Is that fair to put sidewalks, drive approach, and curb and gutter in 3 categories? Is there one, would that 310 allow us to do one of those categories as a whole?
no, not necessarily, because when you do the curb and gutter, you gotta cut into a drive approach.
Okay.
So then, or do you just patch in that drive approach? Some of them are in great condition and it's real easy to patch in, some are pretty rough shape. And you don't wanna match their grade, because then when they do their drive approach, they gotta tear out that strip. Or vice versa, you don't wanna necessarily leave a lip that you don't have to put in there.
Okay.
So it's those 3, curb and gutter, drive approach, and sidewalk. It would be tough to truly separate those.
So those are, and drive approach and sidewalk are connected in a similar way as drive approach and curb and gutter?
It would be the easiest to cut out the sidewalk.
Okay, that's what I'm wondering. So then, okay, if we did 310, we're assuming we're gonna get 300 from the state, right? Or what did they reduce it down to, 360, 350?
Just 346 is last time I see.
346. And what percentage of that can be used for our majors? And local?
65%, some 70, somewhere in there. I'd have to look again. It's changing, so take it with a grain of salt.
Okay. Can be used for the majors, and Oak is is major and south is local or major?
Both majors,
Both majors.
except for Oak from Fayette North is local.
Okay. So if we do get the 310 plus the 350, whatever, that brings us to 660, and now we're at close to 2/3, yeah, maybe even more than 2/3. Would that be enough to isolate the curb and gutter and drive approach sections?
I would, and just this is my opinion, not even this year, but next year, I mean, until we have that in our hands, I would say no.
I hate to,
It's
actually
money.
both of those two streets, there's basically no curb left. It's like totally sunken.
Well, there's not actually curb and gutter under there, it's all E-curb, so there's no paving under residence, that's not.
Oh, really? It's not gone, it just never
It's
existed?
never existed, correct.
Oh.
So it's just standing E-curb, about like.
Is it causing flooding issues? Is it taking life away from the roads?
Yeah, there's no concrete pan to take the water out. You know, concrete, as Rob said, concrete, you know, travels better with water than does asphalt, it's more porous. You know, and then of course, as that water infiltrates that curb, where the asphalt is to it, it'll fill quicker than concrete will, absolutely.
So, then Rob, do you have like high-risk areas designated? I know people complain about the Broad Street side of things because water runs down that way, particularly I think from Barry and south, people have said. Are there sort of high-risk areas where we could tell the residents, you know, not having curb and gutter here it actually will damage the road long-term, could damage your property, could cause flooding issues? Are there any areas where you have concerns about that?
South Street or Broad Street in particular, I think the real problem there is that that road is so broke up and so potholed that the water isn't making it to the curb. And MDOT likes to do this thing where when they go across the intersection, they want their crown held. And that means that the side street doesn't have a crown. So sometimes you end up with a dead spot, a flat spot that might puddle water, just because it depends on if your curbs have a slope to it or if the curbs are at the same. Normally your curbs would be the same, you crown the middle and the water flows out. They get rid of that and they make that flat, and then you end up with puddles along in there, and then that slowly eats away. So we do have to be careful there when we put that back in to pave it in such a way to minimize that potential ponding. Off the cuff, I don't know what the cross slope is at that intersection to know. From Broad Street to Budlong, that road is about a 0.7% grade, which is great for curb and gutter. It's like 3 times the minimum grade curb and gutter, but it's flatter than the minimum grade for asphalt, for having good flow without the possibility of burnt pass. So we gotta make sure that we're getting our grade right when we pave that. I'll probably actually stake that with the intention of making sure we get a grade on that. But in general, if other than one puddle on Oak Street, you have so much grade on all of these streets that Oak Street there's like 3 blocks with no curb or no storm sewer at all. So you have a lot of really good drainage, natural drainage out of the area, and then it looks like your soil's sandy, gravelly soil, so the water drains well, as opposed to a clay or a topsoil that holds the water. So the fact that these roads, what is it, South Street, I think we said was last paved in 1965, and you look at the actual failures, it's an age failure. It's not necessarily a water failure or structural failure. And how you tell is if you go out there, you'll get block-shaped cracks. That's temperature and shrinkage crackage. And when you have a more structural failure, they're more triangular shaped. So you can tell by looking at the cracks what kind of failures you got. Now obviously that road is so old you're gonna have a mix. But if you look at the prevailing cracks, they're block cracking, not necessarily the alligator cracking.
Okay, thank you. That's very helpful, though I'm not sure I follow all the technical language. I guess the basic point I'm wondering, if curb and gutter is a luxury, I don't want to call it a luxury, but you know, it provides a marginal benefit rather than a real structural benefit, a benefit to the property owners that to prevent flooding. Yeah, let's not do it. Let's stick with the original plan of no curb and gutter. That seems great. I would like the approach to at least inform council, hey, this is a high risk area. Foregoing curb and gutter for this block will actually significantly reduce the lifespan of the road. And then we can maybe factor that into our deliberations. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, but it seems to me that if we could bond, use the sinking fund, and I don't know if we can, I guess the sinking fund is technically to pay back a bonded debt, right? But if we could bond the money that we're gonna get from the state in order to get as much done on these roads this year, I think that would be the best approach. Thank you.
City Manager Mackey.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of points. Again, we didn't propose using the sinking fund because it is a millage. We tried to balance the projects out and what those additional features were for the savings to match what the cost. And actually they matched fairly well, you know, within $20,000 or so. I would say that, you know, good points and good questions on the conditions of the roads and looking at that. And that's one of the things when we put this proposal together is, you know, we first started with, okay, if we just did the roads, you know, what could we do and not sacrifice quality? And that's what Rob looked at, because originally, you know, we started from a standpoint of could we do the partial depth replacement, the option C, and he's like, well, no, he felt on South Street that wasn't the best course of action, and that's why we're proposing the full depth on South Street, because after looking at the roads and examining it, he expressed that that's the way we need to go. On Arch and Industrial Ave, that doesn't have curb and gutter, and it's part of that grant process where we do have 2 grants on that project, so that's not included. I mean, so there was no offset there for items B or C, but on Oak Street, he felt that we could do that. So by mixing and matching the cost savings that he felt was appropriate, we were able to get to that pretty close with the savings there. And I do believe this is a sustainable model, because, you know, if we're taking funds either from a millage, which kind of was the approach we wanted to take of not adding an additional, because the 1.4 is what the margin we have to our max. So we have a max of 20 mils, and then we have the 1.4 still available due to the rollbacks, which we could use, which is the 310. But inevitably, we feel that what was proposed is sustainable, and the projects that we're bringing forward and how we're bringing them forward is not sacrificing the quality of the road.
Okay, thank you. That's exactly what I was saying. Of course, I don't want to mill, but if we are sacrificing the long-term quality for Oak and South, it seems like the millage would be worth it. And maybe with a special assessment that was tied directly to an improvement to their actual property, if they agreed to that on an individual basis, but it doesn't sound like that's possible. Thank you so much, Rob, for your flexibility and creativity and openness here. This looks like a great plan. I really appreciate it.
And Councilman, Mayor, I would just say that, you know, each project, as Rob said, will be different. So each road will probably need a little bit different tweak. And Rob and Jason have been very active in reviewing these projects to make them fall within our budget, and they will continue to do that.
move that we adopt the 2026 resolution to update the policy and procedures used in establishing and allocating costs to special assessment districts.
Support?
Support. I have a motion by Councilman Morrissey, supported by Councilman Bruns.
Yeah, I just have one comment on the motion.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the policy update looks great. I'll vote for it, although I do think it's maybe imperfect and we can continue to look at this in future years.
Councilman Flynn.
And I just, sorry.
I also should point out that Councilman Bruns had this suggestion of making the special assessments voluntary in last year. And so I just wanted to give him recognition for mentioning that.
Mayor, one last thing, just to mention. So our road millage goes to 2031, so that would be a good place to review, just because we will be re-examining our road program and whether we want to go back to the voters for millage, or it could be done anytime in between. But that would be a logical place that would require reflection.
Councilman Flynn.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly say that at least 10 years ago, if not longer, I do not remember exactly, this was done on Hallett Street, from Reading Avenue to the hospital, where they just came in and they milled, and you might remember the exact date.
2019.
Okay, so it wasn't that long ago, but 8 years ago. So, but they came in and they milled the entire street down and then just repaved it. No new curb, no new gutter. I still don't have curb and gutter, never have on that section of street. And I know every project is different, but 8 years, 7 years later, it's still just fine. I mean, it's showing its normal wear and tear, but the edges aren't collapsing. The street's not crumbling in any area. So, and that's a main shoot through for a lot of people. So I think this project and this plan really is going to be beneficial. But like Councilman Brun says, we can always revisit if we need to for different projects.
Council discussion. Councilman Bellamy.
Yeah, excuse me, this is fine, thank you, Rob. But as far as the SADs and redoing them, I feel like we owe Mr. Wechter an answer. I don't think this is the council to do that. We're gonna run a campaign, and so the sustainability of the model doesn't really concern me either. I'm glad we're getting these projects started, so yeah, I'll vote for it. And I trust that the city manager can come up with a 17 grand difference. Is that okay? So yeah.
Okay. I want to thank the city staff and city manager Mackey, Sam, Jason, and Rob. Thank you for all your hard work at this. I mean, this is a good plan, right? Policy. Thank you, city manager Mackey.
Just wanted to kind of respond to Councilman Bentley's point. We believe that there probably are a few streets, if not several, that might still be interested in special assessments that don't have any hard surface. I'll give an example, maybe a Marion or other streets like that have just a gravel road. Now, to go in there and do it, we would have to do curb, gutter, the full project. That would, we'd have to look at differently than ones that have some of those hard surface features. So that's why we wanted to leave it on the table. So.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. We just leave it the way it is for this year, and we address it in the midterm. But speaking of which, this is not a serious proposal, but the cemetery, Oak Grove Cemetery to the west of West, I believe there's 3 properties there, and I've heard that they might be interested, but I can't imagine that we're gonna probably sink money into that dead end down to the river. But I think you could probably up some customers there. But then I think there'd be a lot of backlash from people that don't live there that, why are we fixing that road that doesn't exist? Anyway, yeah, to be continued. Let's just put it on hold and do these projects and have an election and talk about it with the budget and so forth.
Okay, any more council discussion?
No, wait. Did you get specific other inquiries, or no? You just have an intuition that they're out there?
Others have talked to us in the past. We just, depending on what direction council was going to go, we didn't want to start that discussion prematurely, so.
Thank you, Mayor Sessions. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It just seems like with the state our roads are in, agreeing to bring Marion up to like the highest level of streets is probably not I just think we gotta just do Oak and Manning and West and Fayette and just focus on those main arteries and leave good enough in those other areas. Just to clarify, like Brun said, just so for future reference if necessary, I like this policy proposal. We'll see how it's applied in specific instances. And I do think that using the sinking fund for areas that are presenting, a serious structural risk due to flooding, or even strips of sidewalk along Oak and South where it's, you have to basically get off the sidewalk to navigate it. If it's necessary to do that from a safety perspective, I would support it, especially if it could be less than the 1.4. Thank you all.
Thank you. Councilman Soha.
We're just voting on changing the policy.
Yes.
Yeah. Call the question.
Okay. I second that. We have a roll call, or all in favor, say aye.
Point of order.
Yeah.
The agenda says we are to have a roll call.
Oh, okay, all right. A roll call vote, please. Thank you.
Yes. Councilman Palladino,
Yes.
Soha,
Yes.
Stucho,
Yes.
Mayor Sessions.
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley.
Yes.
Bruns,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
and Morrissey.
Yes.
Say zero is approved. It's
All right.
resolution 3669.
Actually, we have to vote now on the motion, because he called the motion, and that's what the second was. So now we have to vote on the motion. Right. Okay, so may I have a roll call vote, city clerk?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
All right, Councilperson Soha,
Yes.
Stucho,
Yes.
Mayor Sessions.
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley.
Yes.
Bruns,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Morrissey.
Yes.
Palladino.
Yes.
Say zero. States approved.
Thank you very much.
Resolution 3669.
Appreciate that, thank you. Yes. City manager Mackey.
Could we ask for a motion to move forward with the proposed plan on those 3 streets?
Yes. Okay. All right. Motion, then entertain a motion then to direct the city staff to proceed with option 2 and as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, a motion by Councilman Morrissey, supported by Councilman Flynn. Any council discussion? Councilman Soha.
The sinking fund, I struggle with the 1.4%, but is it something that we have historically been levying?
Councilman, we levied it for 2 or 3 years before we started special assessment. So that's what we actually use to generate more revenue. I would just, in regards to that discussion, regarding the street level of streets as well, you gotta remember those folks, even if they're on the street up by the cemetery or Marion, they're still paying the road millage. We try to look at it to try to create the fairest balance for folks, but taking into account the major streets, because they are major thoroughfares. That's why South was selected as well as Oak.
And I just
this is just 6 or 7 years of Headley rollback since 2019, right?
Correct, yes. So
Okay.
1.4 is what we've rolled back, but.
Right, I know, this might sound like something a government bureaucrat would say or something, but like, okay, he's already said it does, so I won't even, well, no, I'll say, they've already approved 20 mills, right? This is the Headley Amendment, which is a dubious quality law, but, I don't wanna levy 1.4 just for its own sake. I'm just saying, if there are safety or structural concerns with it, we should give the voters an option. It's the council's concern about levying millages that have already been approved up to 20 mills, but then slapping people with SADs is like totally inconceivable to me. This is what the millages are to pay for general property tax concerns. But I'm very glad that you and the city staff have found a way to do it without it. That's incredible. Thank you.
That wasn't my point, Councilman. I apologize for being unclear. I don't mind to levy it, but I would prefer, if we did, to use that money to finish Oak Street from Fayette to College.
Yeah.
And then if there's leftovers, to do those improvements as you suggested, and I was wondering if there might be support for that. Any council discussion?
The cost was available, right? What was it?
It was 244, I believe, 254 for that extension, and the 310 is the levy.
So we're gonna levy a mill to do a 20th of a mile or something. Why was that so expensive?
Well, the proposal that came out, it was beyond catastrophic, because Jason said we had to go all the way, or we should go all the way, I think around to Union?
No.
No, just to the sports complex. And that was 340, I remember.
Correct, it was 340 to start with, and then Rob went back and went through the numbers, updated them from this year, and we were able to get that down quite a bit.
I am not for a moment suggesting that, I guess I'm just suggesting that since the SADS has fallen through, and I don't know who liaises with them up on the hill, I'm not trying to spend their money, but, you know, it's something to consider if it really is gonna be dead space for the next generation, and this is the only opportunity, and getting to the academy is really the point. So I don't know, but we're not gonna decide that today, obviously, but I take your point. Getting to the academy is.
Oh, I mean, we are deciding that today, aren't we, to approve these 3 projects? So we are deciding that today, that's my point.
Did Rob have a cost for it with the policy number 2, or did you just design it for the previous policy?
So we did look at that component of Fayette to College Street, and it was a little over $100,000 to do it similar to Oak from Willow to Fayette. So it was a little over $100,000 to do that specific partial depth in ADA. But we removed it because to get closer to our total special assessment amount.
Yeah, that sounds much more reasonable, and I wonder if we could, I don't know if it's possible to break up the project into SAD, non-SAD, but there's a particular special interest in that area that might want it done even with SADs.
That's why I'm suggesting that I thought we made our decision for these 3 projects to go forward, but maybe as an addendum, we can consider either to the academy lane or all the way there and talk about that next couple meetings or something. Because we don't want to blow up our unanimity of what we just decided. And I don't know that it's crucial that we figure the rest of this out tonight.
So, Councilman, my thinking is between Fayette and Academy Drive, does the college even own any of those properties? Aren't those private homes?
The school.
The school.
The school owns those? Okay. know there's a couple of houses on the east side of Oak there.
Right, and they own one of those, but that's, I'm not trying to sad them, I'm
No,
just
no.
saying they have an interest in, as Jason says, this might be only the opportunity for a generation, so it's worth a conversation is all I'm suggesting.
Any more council discussion? Councilman Soha.
I just would ask the city if we don't approve that extension tonight, is there still a possibility to engineer and get it done with the whole project? So it's one continuous street instead of broken up at Fayette and then continuing.
Should be it, right?
Yeah, probably the easiest way to do that is to bid it as an alternate. But then, you know, I need to understand what scope you want. The reason why that cost seems so high is there's a sidewalk that's right adjacent to the pavement, and was gonna try to move that back. Provide a green belt in between, thought that would be a little safer. The number that Mr. Mackey put out, that would just be milling it out and paving back to that sidewalk. So I would need direction as to what you wanna see on that.
City Manager Mackey.
As I indicated, so the cost for to continue the item C, or treatment C, through that area is about $110,000. That's, maybe something that, the staff could take a look at and coming up with an option for, whether it would be an addition, levying $110,000 on the sinking fund, or looking at, where we're at in the budget. It might be something less than that.
Just to show my hand, not that we need unanimity, but contra Mayor Pro Tem Palladino, I will not be voting for a levy this year for any of these reasons. Maybe after the election and next year's cycle, I might consider it, but I've figured you can cover the 17, you can cover 100, and or other options. But as far as bidding it out and whatever, I don't feel like necessarily that we need an answer on this tonight. I mean, because we don't know where the 100's gonna come from, if it's 100. So I think we go forward with what we just decided and have staff look at it again and decide at a later date. But it'll be probably whoever's doing the milling and stuff, like we haven't hired them, so we got a little time, it seems. I don't know.
Okay, any more council discussion? All right.
I'm sorry.
Councilman Soha.
Thank you. I would prefer to get it done tonight, so we're not revisiting it with that. And I would, if we levied the 1.4, could it be, the language be up to 1.4 based on the cost of the project? So if it's only 100,000, then we're only levying, 0.4 instead of 1, or whatever the numbers are. Is that possible?
Right now, we have a motion on the floor with a second.
Can we?
Well, this motion doesn't include it, so can we just vote on that and then discuss this as a separate item?
If I
Okay.
may, real quick.
All right. Yes, Jason.
Just for, to get our RFPs out, because we are getting to that, time where we should have had them out, about a month ago. I would ask if we do need that extra block, or if we could get some direction tonight, so we know what to write in that RFP, so we can get that out.
Okay, so we got a motion on the floor, a second. Any more council discussion?
I'm sorry, can we amend it, the motion, while it's already been, or do we need to vote on it and then
Yeah. Okay, may I have a roll call vote, City Clerk Price?
Yes, Councilperson Stuchel,
Yes.
Mayor Sessions.
Yes.
Councilperson Bentley,
Yes.
Bruns,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Morrissey,
Yes.
Palladino,
Yes.
and Soha.
Yes.
That's 8-0 approved.
Okay.
Can I make I'd like to make a motion to approve the, I'm sorry, what is it? The 1.4 to complete just the repaving of the whole, based on the city's manager's suggestion that it will be approximately $110,000 to repave. That's odd.
City Manager May.
Before you finalize your motions, so a mill is about 220,000, so half a mill will cover what our anticipated cost is for that extension. So I would say you don't necessarily need to go to the 1.4. You could just say half a mill, up to half a mill from the sinking fund to cover that portion, and we should be good.
I amend my motion to levy the sinking fund up to half a mil to complete Oak Street to College Street.
Second. We have a motion by Councilman Soha, a second by Councilman Morrissey for 1 mil or half a mil to finish between Fayette Street and College. Any more discussion? Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Thank you, Mayor Sessions. I would just like to see what the cost is once they have a little bit more of a look at it, see if any money can be found. But is it possible to include this in the contract with the contingent that we can contract something out without saying we have the money for it, definitely, right? Or we can ask for it in the proposal, see what the cost estimates are, and then when we get it there, we say, okay, if you want to propose this fuller option, you have to levy a millage.
So if you bid it as an alternate, you put on their acceptance based on funding availability.
And contractors won't have a problem with that, will they?
I would not, in general, recommend putting projects out to bid that you don't intend to build.
Even if it's part of a multi-million-dollar project?
I just want to do it every year, right? You know what I mean? To do it as a part of one big project, it's not a bad thing, because maybe we get lucky and the bids all come in better than what I think they're gonna come in, and the cash might be there in a different way. It's just, with time, if you put too many things out for bid and then you don't build them,
Yeah.
you'll see it in pricing, you'll see prices go up, you'll have less interest from contractors, things like that. So to do it in this instance, especially since it seems to be real strong support for wanting to do it, and I'm not saying how that's gonna go, I don't see the harm in bidding as an alternate for the timetable.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'd like to let you have a fuller look at it, see if you can do anything with the sidewalks, or see if there's private support for a separate district there. I don't want to jump on the millage tonight, but I would like to see what the cost is. Thank you.
Councilman Flynn.
Can we go the other way from what the Mayor Pro Tem's saying? Can we just go ahead and vote on the project and then see what the price is gonna be for that section, and then come back and say, and amend this and say, okay, you only need 1/4 of a mil or 3/10 of a mil because it's only gonna cost this much, and then vote on that. Does that make sense? Can we do that, or are we not allowed to? Because the funding is there. I understand what you're saying, Rob. I understand that you're saying they don't wanna, because if it's not there, I mean, the funding's there, but I understand what Mr. Palladino's saying is that if we don't need the full half a mil, so can we just go ahead and approve and then later say?
If I may.
Yes, sir.
What you would do is you would have a motion to authorize it to be included in the request or proposal as an option, as the engineer just suggested. And then you could come back once you get the price to determine how you're going to pay for it. And if it requires you to, levy some portion of your millage for the sinking fund, then you could do that, and you would have an idea of exactly how much you need to levy.
Councilman Bentley.
I would like like to second that proposal of Councilman Flynn and the attorney. Yes, let's authorize it, and we have our budget talks coming up, and as Mr. Wechter has pointed out, I'm pretty sure we can find 100 grand in the next budget year, and we're not writing this check until July. So let's get on the same page, unanimously direct them to do it all the way to the sports complex, and worry about the money later, because I will not be voting for a mill increase, but I very much want to vote for the extension to the sports complex.
Right now, we have this motion on the floor by Councilman Soha, supported by Councilman Morris. Councilman
Well,
Soha.
just in, it is up to
Right.
the half a mil, right? It's,
Right.
so, they called the question, or I retract.
So I don't know how we get out of that if Councilman Soha is
We gotta
willing
vote.
to. Oh, we're gonna, okay.
Okay, any more council discussion? Seeing none, may I have a roll call vote, City Clerk Price?
Yes, Mayor Sessions.
No.
Councilperson Bentley.
No.
Bruns.
No.
Flynn.
Yes.
Morrissey.
Yes?
Palladino.
No.
Soha.
Yes.
Stuchel.
No.
3 yes, 5 no, that fails.
Okay. Councilman Bentley?
I move to, if I understand the situation correctly, move to direct city staff to bid it out as though it's going to the Splex, include it and find the money in the next 6 weeks.
Second, I have a motion by Councilman Bentley, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Palladino. Any more council discussion? Councilman Soha?
This is just to clarify, just for the repaving, not the full reconstruction. Correct?
In the neighborhood of 100 grand.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Palladino.
Thank you. What was again the problem with just the couple hundred yards there, not going all the way to the sports complex? It's not possible just to do to Academy Lane from an engineering perspective, is that correct?
It's gonna be a dead zone, man. We'll never come back to it.
How bad is it after Academy? It doesn't strike me as being, it's not that bad. It's a 2. Aren't that, really? Around the corner there, where you, around right in front of the entrance.
From Academy Lane down to the sports complex there, it's rated a 2 and a 3, yeah. That's all I, like, it's gonna be that southbound or northbound lane that's bad.
Well, of course.
Yep.
It's one of the buses parked.
The drainage problem was fixed there, Jason?
Correct. Pardon me?
The drainage problem
Drainage problem
has been fixed.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, I'll just say that if the bid comes back, I'm not gonna risk the city's reputation and vote no on the millage, but I do think it's worthwhile to at least give the city staff time to figure out if the money can be found and the price can be reduced before levying the millage.
Okay, any more council discussion? Seeing none, I have a roll call vote, City Clerk Price.
Yes, Councilperson Bentley.
Yes.
Bruns.
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Morrissey.
Yes.
Palladino.
Yes.
Soha.
Yes.
Stuchel.
Yes.
Mayor Sessions.
Yes.
6-0 is approved.
All right, thank you. Okay. Now we'll move on to, we don't have any miscellaneous reports, no proclamation. We do have one appointment at the Airport Advisory Committee, David Morris. With the support of City Council, I would like to appoint David Morris to the Airport Advisory Committee. Mr. Morris holds both a bachelor's and master's degree and previously served as council president at First Lutheran Church. He served 21 years in the military and brings extensive military and commercial aviation experience along with some general aviation experience. He is also a small business owner and a strong supporter of local airports and aviation. David is a strong advocate for the city of Hillsdale, and I ask for City Council supporting and confirming his appointment. Yes, Councilman Soha.
I spoke to Mr. Morris this afternoon. He's willing to serve. He reminded me he served on the board previously
Yes, Mayor, just want to point out that Mr. Morris is back, in the back of the room as well, with the camouflage on. But he's here tonight as well.
Would you like to come to the podium and answer a few questions at the city council, or give us a little bit about you?
You summed it up pretty good.
Okay.
I'm happy to answer any questions if you want.
Okay, any council questions from, Councilman Flynn?
Just curious about your military experience. Did you fly, or what did you fly?
I started out in A-37s and then I flew A-10s for 16 years.
Really? Sweet.
Yeah.
So you would have some pull then at the fly-in to maybe get some friends of yours to fly by?
I have failed miserably at that the last 3 years in a row because all my friends are retired now too.
Oh, okay.
My friends.
Right.
But I do actually own a Vietnam era warbird that I parked out there during the last one. It'll be out there again in the future.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Mr. Morris?
Move to approve.
All right.
Second.
All right, a motion by Councilman Soha, supported by Councilman Flynn. Any more council discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Morris. You're now on the Airport Advisory Committee. All right. So, here we have no more none, so we'll go into general public comment. You state your name, address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. The podium is now open.
Joseph Hendy, 181 Reed Street. I was looking for the Lifeways to be back on the agenda, but it wasn't, so I had a speech prepared, I'm gonna read it anyways. Assessors are expected to uphold fairness and justice at all times. I hold in my possession 2 official GIS printouts for the front lot that Lifeways purchased from the Center of Family Health. Notice the document dates when the Center of Family Health owned the property. The records show 1.78 acres with a land value of $61,739. After Lifeways acquired the lot, the reported acreage was increased without any survey or supporting documentation from approximately 1.78 acres to 2.2 acres, while the land value was simultaneously reduced from $61,739 by roughly $28,113 to $33,628. This occurred during a period when property values across the area were clearly rising. Compounding the issue, the county now proposes to issue Lifeways a $15.5 million bond to finance a state and federally supported facility that will serve residents across Michigan and possibly beyond, all at the taxpayers' expense in a millage we pay for them, pay for services. City code for commercial development requires a minimum lot size of approximately 2 acres. That's in your charter. Along with a minimum width and street frontage of about 175 feet each. The sudden undocumented increase in acreage appears to have been made solely to satisfy these requirements, allowing Lifeways to proceed with construction without mandated surveys. The change was simply entered into the record. The Hillsdale ordinances and Michigan law generally do not allow an assessor to just change or create parcels on their own without the proper land division process. This raises serious questions. Was Kim Thomas involved in approving or directing this adjustment? The absence of any survey or verifiable justification suggests the alteration was fraudulent. While ordinary residents continue to face fair and rising property assessments, Lifeways appears to have been granted an unwarranted free pass. Such unequal treatment undermines public trust and violates the fundamental duties of assessors and acts within the purity impartial and integrity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Penny Swan, Ward 4. I would just like to congratulate Mr. Mackey, past and previous staff for being acknowledged via the Collegian for being the top physically responsible city in the state. Good work. Thank you.
Thank you. More public comment. Seeing none, I'll close the podium and we'll move into the city manager report. City Manager Mackey.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one item I wanted to share with council. It's actually from the village manager and police chief of Union City. Many of you, probably all of you, recognize that Union City was one of the communities that was hit hard by a tornado. And they sent us a letter of appreciation because we supplied mutual aid in the form of our linemen to help them get, as well as other communities like Marshall, Coldwater, and Sturgis, to get their community back up. But I'll read the letter for you. Dear David, on behalf of the Village of Union City, our electric department, village council, and the residents of our community, I would like to extend our sincere appreciation to the city of Hillsdale for their assistance your crews provided following the devastating tornado that struck Union City and the Union Lake area on March 6, 2026. The storm caused widespread damage to our electrical system, including down poles, damaged transformers, and significant stretches of wire that required immediate attention. Your willingness to send skilled linemen, equipment, and vehicles to assist our local crews made an extraordinary difference in our recovery efforts. Thanks to the professionalism, dedication, and long hours put in by your crews working alongside our Union City Electric Department, we were able to restore service to our community in just over 72 hours. That level of response would not have been possible without the strong spirit of cooperation and mutual aid that exists among our municipal partners. Please extend our heartfelt thanks to the linemen and staff who came to Union City and worked under difficult conditions to help our community recover. Their efforts did not go unnoticed and will not be forgotten. We are grateful for our continued partnership and stand ready to assist your community in the future should the need arise. Sincerely, Chris Mathis, Village Manager, Police, Chief of Police, in the Village of Union City. So the work that they were doing initially, as you remember, when the tornadoes came through, it was raining. So they were working in, pretty tough, through the dark, and pretty tough weather with continuous rain and such. And the crews, again, that's what mutual aid does, came together and were able to get a pretty devastated area back on in 3 days, which was pretty amazing. So just want to thank Union City for recognizing our team, and just wanted to share that with the council and the public, and that's all I have here.
Questions for City Manager, Councilman Bellamy?
Yes, City Manager, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
Ms. Swan reminds me of the self-congratulatory press release that the Collegian put out on your behalf. I've been a close reader and follower of the Collegian since I've been on council, and I've noticed that they took a real interest, they did real hard work, and they gave both sides of disputed council issues, most especially recently the SADs. And then in February, early February, it stopped. And I would like to know if there's been a secret drug deal between city staff and the Hillsdale Collegian, because it's a marked difference between what I was reading in January, and then now it's Sam Fry, and let me digress a minute. Did we figure out what Sam Fry's title is?
Assistant City Manager.
Because I remember that discussion, and I thought we concluded it was assistant to the city manager. And that distinction seemed to have been important at the time and forgotten now. And I don't know that we got an update on what his salary might be, but yeah, he's anyway, the Collegian article and the funds, and that's another reason the funds, the article about a lost decade, and that's almost a decade old by now, and then it was also 15 years. And anyway, it was an admission, the way I read it, that you can in fact come up with $100,000 to match what we just spent. But I would like an answer, Mr. City Manager, about the Collegian.
Thank you, Councilman Bentley. Actually, they approached us about actually that particular story on the budget, and we presented them with the actual facts of where our budget stands and how we've been able to work through tight times and hold the line so we can be in this position. As far as the change in tone of the Collegian articles, I don't know, what to say about that. Our job as city staff is to try to present the city in the best positive light, and answer stories or questions factually. Are we working closer with the Collegian? We are working with them, and just like we work with other media sources. Corey, for example, he'll routinely contact us after a meeting when he's, and we get back to everyone and try to give them the correct and factual answers in a positive light for the city. So I hope this continues with the Collegian, and appreciate that you recognize that it was a positive article.
Thank you. No, so I heard you say that is the job of city staff, specifically, I suppose, Mr. Fry. But I'm under the impression that that didn't happen for a long period, and that's why they came to you, and that's why there was some deal, because read along with the SADs, there was 2 articles in January that were very strong, then there were 2 missing as it all came to a head, including, I might add, I think I learned from Ms. Hardway, that Matt, the guy from Arch Street, Patillo, thank you. He talked to them, and that article mysteriously didn't run. So I just, Mr. Murray is a big boy. He takes care of himself, and but they are part of an institution that has their own interests. So I just feel like there was leverage waged by the city staff here against those student journalists, and I'm not happy about it. As long as I guess I'm putting you on the spot, another issue is, for this county, 2 acute issues are Lifeways and the solar issue. And then it comes to like this week that you are in bed, so to speak, with solar down in Pittsburgh. Would you like to address anything about that?
Well, first, Councilman, there was no leverage and we would never do that. We would never try to steer a story, besides giving fact.
You embargoed the Collegian, just admit it.
Say that again?
You embargoed the Collegian. I don't, why does this have to be a secret?
I was interviewed by them too. They came to me for an interview for the 3 months, and I gave them an interview. So, yes.
That's right. We give facts when they're warranted and when they're requested and are being used.
It's not the facts, yes. I think it's San Frye's responsibility to give the facts. But there's been so much spin between his article and your article, and I don't know, well, anyways.
When you believe the press on everything, it's just.
City Manager Mack, I would like to thank you for your leadership and the support of the BPU to Union City. I think that was just outstanding, and I do appreciate that very much so. So, yes, Councilman Flynn.
Getting back to city stuff, I have a question for Jason, real quick, if you have a moment.
Yes, sir.
With the spring brush collection coming up first part of April, I've had a number of people approach me and wanting to know about the leaves that weren't able to get picked up back in December because of the snow and stuff. Will you be picking up residual leaf piles that might still be out there as part of the brush pickup, or are the leaves just gonna sit until fall?
No, anything that was left out as of last fall has already been picked up, so.
Well, has it? Oh.
Absolutely. So whatever's been brought out was been brought out, the last couple of weeks. So, guaranteed pickup, everything should have been out since December 1st of last year. And we only had half of Ward 2 and then half of Ward 3 and 2 left to do.
Okay.
So yeah, there's been no spring collection this will be the 3rd year.
Right. They were just kind of curious, since they weren't able to get the leaves.
If you could, have them reach out to the office, we've been working with the farmers over on Mechanic Road.
Oh, okay.
He takes all that free of charge, you just gotta get them there. So if you wanna put them in touch with us,
okay,
and we can try to facilitate that.
I can do that. Thank you.
Well,
Jason. Going off of Councilman Flynn's question, just to clarify, the spring brush cleanup is not part of the mills. Is that right? That's just something that council's directed you to do, or we've done traditionally?
Correct. We've traditionally, at least for 20 years, correct.
Is there a cost estimate of what it probably?
I can get you one pretty quick. I run work orders on it. It's probably $15,000 to $20,000 a year.
And is it super popular? Because it seems.
The spring one is, the fall one is not. The spring one's hit pretty well. The fall one is pretty minuscule.
All right. Well, I don't mean to take MPT's cost-cutting micromanaging, but yeah, just I can live without brush cleanup depending on the price. But if the people love it, I'm not. Anyway.
And we still open up till November 15th to drop it off our facility as well. So they have 2 pickups and then Monday through Friday services a drop off as well. So now it's still, regardless of what we do, I'd still recommend keep that open.
Thank you.
Any more council discussion? Councilman Morrissey.
Yes, on the Operations and Governance Committee, from time to time, we've discussed the idea of looking at these sections of the charter which have been superseded by state regulations. And in order to correct that, we would have to go to the people to have an amendment to the charter. But in the meantime, we can still annotate the charter, it seems to me, to indicate what sections of the charter are no longer viable, that they've been superseded. Mayor Pro Tem Palladino was the one who, years ago, started noticing these things, and he compiled a useful list of them. So could we put that on the agenda for next time to discuss and perhaps vote on that? I'll have more to say if we do at that time, but and we can all, my colleagues on the ONG committee can also weigh in on this. But I'd like to get moving on that because this is really it's a housekeeping issue. It shouldn't be particularly
I've heard, and actually I could find the state statute, or I think Michigan Supreme Court, our 2-year residency requirement to run for council, I've been told is outdated and unenforceable and may open us to lawsuits. I don't know if you can look into that, or if you have some thoughts off the top of your head.
3 years.
I'm sorry, yeah, it's 3, and the Supreme Court of Michigan has ruled that that's too much, is my understanding, but such as it is.
As a general rule, I seem to recall that there is a Michigan Supreme Court decision that calls into question the enforceability of those types of residency requirements for you to be able to run for office within a municipality. If you want a memo on it, we can provide that.
Yes, please do, and if that can be amended, like, it's in the charter, I suppose, like, I don't know if we can do anything in this election cycle or not, but, yeah, if you could do a memo on that, that'd be great, thank you. And the other, I would just like to note the passing of the Market House as of today, I believe. And without pointing fingers, just note that economic development has its downsides. And I think there's every reason to believe the Market House, an institution that's been here for 85 years, seems to be a victim of it in a prime location. Meanwhile, we keep patting ourselves on the back for cramming more stuff into the sprawl out there on 99, and I would like to focus on the downtown and near downtown, and it's an unfortunate loss to our community.
Councilman Flynn.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Or did you have something you wanted to say?
Are we in council comment?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, but we're still in city
City
manager.
manager, no, city
Well, someone should make a second on that, but I have more, one more
go ahead.
thing to ask about.
If somebody wants to second.
Technically, the motion dies. Oh no, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, no, we can have infinite growth in this tiny community and there's no trade-offs. The Lifeways thing. Yeah, what's going on with that? Just to clear that up before we leave.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't the planning commission do something on, I know the planning commission voted on a site plan. Was there land division?
Yeah, I forgot exactly the details, but we did vote on it. But it was legal, it was conformative with the law, as far as we knew.
Oh, Councilman Morrissey said it's legal in conformity. Okay, yeah, I was concerned about Mr. Hendy's comments there about whether we have already gone through all the processes for Lifeways to build there.
Mr. Thompson, can you take a look at that too? Not necessarily right now, but it does seem to have done some research on it. I have no way to judge whether it's what happened.
Sure.
Thank you.
Do I have a second? Councilman Soma, okay. I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and you and Okay. All right. We have a motion by Councilman Flynn, support by Councilman Soha to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion passes and the meeting is adjourned.